Once again, all of you welcome to the lecture series of microprocessor and microcontroller. Today is day 13, date is 6/5, 2021. Now, today we are going to discuss the some introduction and some basic features of 80286 microprocessor, 80386 microprocessor, and 80486 microprocessor, and all. Okay, now we will see the some basic structure of the this microprocessor. And all. You know that this is the basic structure of our microprocessor 8086 microprocessor. Okay, some it has ALU, register, timing and control unit, bus memory, and input output devices. Now, see this in the last class we spend one class on this just general bus operation of 8086 microprocessor. You know that what is the importance of this general bus operation of 8086 microprocessor? That means it will give the how microprocessor is access the memory, nothing but RAM and ROM memory, or how the microprocessor is send information from the CPU to the memory, RAM and ROM memory, and all. We will see it in this timing diagrams of the read cycle as well as write cycle, memory read and memory write cycles. Okay, these we can call it as a timing diagrams. So how, who can supply these clocks to the each and every operation? A timing and control unit will supply the clocks to the each and every operation that will performed by the microprocessor. Okay, so each and every operation it has a fixed number of clocks. Okay, for it is a read cycle, it has a fixed number of 4 clocks. If it is a write cycle, it has a fixed number of 4 clocks. So another operations it has a more number of clocks are generated by the timing and the controls based on the operation, which type of operation it can perform. Okay, so you see this clock, it is a negative edge triggered clock. So for performing the read operation, microprocessor is want the 4 cycles. For performing the write operation, microprocessor is want the 4 cycles. So what is TW? TW is nothing but the okay, TW is nothing but the wait time or inactive time. What is the use of this wait and inactive time? You know that CPU speed is always greater than the memory device speed. So to match the CPU speed as well as the memory device speed, so and wait time period of one cycle, you can generate it to match the speed of the nothing but the CPU as well as the memory devices. You know that this microprocessor is able to access the memory that on that way microprocessor is perform the read operation. Microprocessor is send the information to the memory. On that time microprocessor is perform the write operation. Okay, now see this once again. You can see this memory read and memory write cycles. You have to see this. So at first instant of time, at the t1 time period, you know that you have the address and data lines by multiplex lines. Multiplex means the same lines you can use it for both data as well as the address. So these lines are AD0 to the 15, AD0 to the AD15, and you have the lines A16 to the S6 and sorry S3, nothing but the S3, A19 to the S7. These are by multiplex lines. Simply multiplex means the same lines here you can use it for address as well as data. Here the same lines used for address as well as status. So these lines are always in address mode. But here you want to convert this address lines to the data lines. So that so under T1 clock cycle, these are under address mode, address lines. So on that address lines, so microprocessor is connected the memory device and T1 clock cycles. Now our aim is to convert these address lines to the data lines. So for that purpose, T2 clock period is required, but that much time is required to convert T1 to the address to the data. One clock period is required to convert address bus to the data bus. That purpose we can enable the address latch enable. Once it will be enabled, then address lines is converted to the data. So for that conversion process, it will take the one nothing but T2 time period, one time period. So once it is converted, then microprocessor is simply perform the read operations. Once the read operation perform, whatever the data present in the memory, that will be available at the data buses. Nothing but this data bus. But what are the another signals? The data receive and transmit. Microprocessor we are performing the read operation, nothing but the receive operation. So nothing but the zero data. So receive nothing but copy operation, that means r bar is equal to 0. So data enable. Then that ready. What is the ready pin means? So you can match the speed of the slow memory devices and the CPU. You can use this pin. So that. So the same way microprocessors perform the write operation. And so write operation, nothing but so CPU to the memory. CPU to the memory. So whatever the data present in that CPU, that we will move it to the memory. So for that purpose also, microprocessor is able to identify which address location we want to store the data. So that address location is identify the address lines in T1 clock. Once that is address location is identified, then that address lines is converted to the data lines to transmit the data from CPU to the memory. Okay, so for that purpose, again you can enable the ALE. You can enable the ALE, address latch enable. Once it is enabled, address lines is converted into the data lines. It will take the time of T2 period. So one time period it will take. Once it will be converted, now you can perform the write operation. Once it is perform the write operation, whatever the data present in that CPU, that will move to the memory specified memory location through this database. So this is the way. So then what about this dt by r bar is equal to 1 in the write operation. Okay, that ready means again you can match this flow memory devices and the CPU. So this is the way we can connect the input out. Then you must draw the this one. Okay, you must draw the lines, this type of lines. Okay, so this will specifically represents the uh, basic operation of this memory read and memory write cycles. Okay, then now we'll able to see the uh, uh, now this is the basic bus operation cycle of 8086 microprocessor. In the examination, they can ask that draw the memory read cycle. So you can just separate this one. This half part we can draw in the examination. They can ask the draw the memory write cycle. Then the second part you may draw that one in the examinations. Or otherwise, they can ask the general bus operation of 8086. You can draw the entire timing diagrams of memory read and the memory write operation. Combined timing diagrams of memory read and memory write cycles. Very easy that one. When you understand the bus operation, how the microprocessor is perform read and write operation, it is very much easy to draw this diagram. First of all, address lines. You have the multiplex lines. Okay, you remember once again, you have the multiplex lines. So the multiplex lines are address and the status lines. Address and data, as well as one multiplex line. Another multiplex line is, see this one multiplex line is address and data. Okay, now see this here. Another multiplex line is address and status. Okay, the same lines are used for multiple functionalities. So microprocessors want to send the data. So on the time it can perform the memory write cycle. So at T1 clock period, so that these lines are always in address mode. So T1 clock period, a CPU is identify the address location where you can store our required data. So once it is identified, and you can enable the ALE. Once you can enable, T2 clock period is required to convert the address lines to the data lines. Once it is converted, so then you see, so DT by ready and DT by R bar and DEN pins are enabled. What is the meaning of these three pins? Ready, you can match the slow memory devices as well as speed memory. DT by R bar, you can transmit the data, receive the data. So write operation means transmit the data. So nothing but that is equal to the 1. So you simply draw these diagrams. You know, this is the 0, this is the 1. So this the way you can draw here is 1. The way you can draw is 0. Simple logic. A 0 is low is 0. This is low. This is high. High is 1. Low is 0. High is 1. Low. Simple. Yeah, the way similar way. You see this. This is the low. So that's why 0. Why it is 0? That but in the read cycle you can r bar is equal to this. In the right cycle dt is equal to the 1. See this. This is high. Remember, whenever there is a bar on that any word or any symbol that represents, it will work as a negative logic. But 0 is on, 1 is off. Simple. Okay. So this way, microprocessors perform the read and write operations. Nothing but the general bus operation of 8086 microprocessor. So now we can see this. The next one, some internal architecture of today's class 80286, 80386, 80486, and so on. Some basic things about this one. So likewise, microprocessor. Uh, uh, you know that our 8086 microprocessor, we have four different types of registers. What are the registers? General purpose registers. Okay. Segment registers. Okay. Then what is third one? Index pointers and okay, pointer registers. Index and pointer register. Then what is fourth one? Flags. These all are 16-bit registers. These all are 16-bit registers. Similarly, so 80286 can see this register organization. So it has again divided into the different category of the registers. Likewise in 8086 microprocessor. So it has 8 16-bit registers. 8. You know that in 8086 microprocessor, how many general purpose registers are there? 4. How many segment registers are there? 4. How many flag registers is there? Only 1. Only 1. Okay. Here, but here 80286 microprocessor, how many general purpose registers are there? 8 general purpose registers. You know that these are also 16-bit microprocessor. This one is also 16-bit microprocessor, but 8 general purpose registers are there. So how many segment registers are there? 4. Likewise, 86 microprocessor. So one status and one control register is there. Then one instruction pointer register is there. But 8086 microprocessor has a more number of index and pointer registers. So that is the only difference. Okay, see this registers. So what are the different types of general purpose registers? AX, DX, CX, BX. You know that these are also available in the 8086 microprocessor. Okay. Then what are the different types of code segment registers? CS, DS, SS, and ES. You know that code segment, data segment, stack segment, and extra segment registers. The another register, the another type of register they are going to introduce here is, see this. You know that the difference between this 8086 and 80286, the index and pointer registers also they can consider here. In general purpose register, we have index and pointer registers also considered here. See this. In the general registers, so base pointer, source index register, destination index register, stack pointer is also considered as a general purpose registers. So then status word and index pointer is also the 16-bit registers. So this is the status word. This is the instruction pointer 16-bit. You know that these are the registers organization of 8086. So 16. So 8 general purpose registers, 8 general purpose registers, 4 segment registers, then 1 status register, then one instruction point. These all are 16-bit. These all are 16-bit. Likewise, 8086 microprocessor. Okay. Now see this basic structure of this one. Internal block diagram of 8026, nothing but internal nothing but architecture of 8026 microprocessor. You just remember this one. You have to practice and remember this diagram to whenever they ask the examination, you just draw this diagram. Okay, so this operation is very much similar to the 8086 microprocessor. You know that 8086 microprocessor, for easy understanding purpose, it will be divided into the two units. What are the two units in 8086? 8086, you can divide, architecture is divided in two types: execution unit. Then what is the second one? What is the second one? Bus interface unit. Execution unit is given command to the bus interface unit. According to that command, bus interface unit is connected to the memory and the input output devices. Here, similarly, 80286 has divided into four different categories. First one, address unit, bus unit, instruction unit, and as well as the execution unit. You know that an execution unit is responsible for, okay, decode the instruction and given the commands to the this bus unit. Okay, you know that what is the address unit. So this address unit is responsible for generating the addresses that will match the address location on that memory. So same, likewise, 8086 microprocessor, it has also a 6-byte instruction queue. 6-byte instruction queue, nothing but from the memory, it will take 6 instructions at a time and execute the one by one instruction. Same, that operation is similar to the 8086 microprocessor. Okay, see this. See this, an execution unit. This is an execution unit, address unit. Similarly, you cannot confuse that one. So again, this we will modify into the again two units: execution unit and bus interface unit. Same, execution unit. It has address bus. It has address unit. Bus interface, it has instruction unit. Bus interface unit is as instruction unit. You cannot confuse. Again, this four different categories we will modify into the two categories: execution unit and bus interface unit. Execution unit, we have the address unit, and bus interface unit, we have the instruction unit. Simple, you know that again. This execution unit is given commands to the bus interface unit to do the work. So similarly, see here an execution unit. See here an execution and address unit is here combined here. Again, it will also divide into the two parts. See this. It will also divide into the two parts. For our simplicity purpose, we are divided into two parts: execution unit and bus interface unit. And it has again address unit. It has the instruction unit. Same, how the 8086 microprocessors work. Similarly, 8086 microprocessor is also some do the work. Okay, so now, but here the question is here the memory sizes as well as the address size. The memory sizes as well as the address size. What is the memory size of this 80286? Now see this 80283. So what is the memory size? 2 power 24. So, but what is the data? Data size, data buses, data lines are D0, this is network. It is also divided into the different types of logical segments. Each logical segment, each segment address is again the 64K. So it will matches the 2 power 24. Okay. So now see and then another black diagram of 80386. This is also similar to the 80286. So now here this is a 32-bit processor. It is a 32-bit processor, but here you can see this is a 16-bit processor. 80286 is a 16-bit processor, but here 80386 is a 32-bit processor. So nothing but it can operate at 8-bit, 16-bit, and 32-bit. Whenever you want that one, you can use it as 8-bit data, or whenever you want that one, you can use it as 16-bit. Whenever you want that one, you can use it as a 13-bit data. So 13-bit means here, see this 80386 has memory size of how much? 4 gigabytes. 4 gigabytes. So each one, it has 4 gigabytes. Nothing but it supports the 16K number of segments. You see this 16K number of segments. Each segment 64 4 GB, nothing but 64 terabytes of total memory. So 80386 we are able to connect the 64 terabytes of that memory. You see this the data lines. So 2 power 32. So 2 power 32. So nothing but 4 GB. Each of 4 GB. So 2 power 32 means here each of you see this address lines. Address lines. You see this. How many address lines are there? Okay, you just remember this diagram also. So you just see this in the examination. They can ask that some silent features of 80286 microprocessor or 80386 microprocessor. You just write the what is the restart organization of that microprocessor, what is the memory size of that microprocessor, what is the bit size of that microprocessor, then what is the segments size of that microprocessor, how many different segments are available, and so when you write that one, that is very much sufficient to get the marks, score the marks. Otherwise, so 80386. So here it has a 16-byte code. Remember, it has a 16-byte code, but 8086 and 80286 microprocessor as we have only a 6-byte instruction code. But here this 80386 is a 16-byte instruction code. You know that the speed of this microprocessor at the same time the memory size of that microprocessor. So it has 16-byte, but that 8086 and 80286 microprocessor has only a 6-byte instruction. Okay. Similarly, you know that this one is also divided into the number of segments and bus control unit as well as address buses and so on. So you just remember and draw this one. Okay. So you want to learn this one. So what is the bit size of this 8086 or 80286 or 80386 microprocessor and all? Okay, bit sizes. Okay. Now coming to the next one, 80486 micro. Okay, 80486 microprocessor. 80486. So, but series 80486 microprocessor. So it has 32-bit data bus. Again, it has the 32-bit data bus. It has the 32-bit data bus. 32-bit data bus. D0 to the D31. 32-bit data bus. Okay, what is the instruction code? It has 32-byte code queue. So now 80286 microprocessor has 6-byte only. 8086 then 80286 we have 6-byte. So so next one is 16-byte. Which one is 16-byte? 80386 is 16-byte, but this one is a 32-byte instruction queue, nothing but. So at a time it will take the 32-byte instructions from the memory, then execute the one by one. You know that you must remember that the what is the speed of the microprocessor. You just estimated the speed of the microprocessor. Okay, so this is very much you know that an advanced microprocessor when compared to the 8086 and 80286 and 80386 microprocessor. It is a 32 byte code queue. Nothing but if this queue size increases, the instruction nothing but the execution is increases. Why? Why means here microprocessor is at a time it can gather the 32-bit instructions information from the memory and store in and get back to the CPU. So otherwise for suppose it will for suppose it will only take the one instruction from the memory, so that will happen in the 8085 microprocessor. 8085 we have the another microprocessor, you have the 8085 microprocessor. It has only the one by one instruction. It can execute the one instruction at a time. There is no instruction queue on that CPU. So that means microprocessor every time is go to the memory and collect the required code for that one and come back to the again CPU and executed that one in the registers. But here an 8086, 80286, 80386 or 80486 microprocessor, you have the advantages of an instruction queuing. So the advantage of instruction queuing means a more number of instruction information is gathered at a time from the memory and get back to the CPU and executed the one by one. So this may reduce as the nothing but the lot of effort of the microprocessor. That means it may gradually increases the speed of the microprocessor. Okay, so now see this. This is the some black diagram of 80486 microprocessor. You just remember this one because I am not going very much deep in this one because in your syllabus they can ask that there's some introduction about the 80286, 386 and the 486 microprocessor. So introduction means here you just remember what you can replace here in the introduction. I will see this. Okay, the introduction means here the first one you want to draw the features. Features means here that may be of 16-bit or 8-bit or 32-bit microprocessor. Okay, 32-bit. Then register organization. Okay, just features register organization. Okay, so for 80286, 80386, 80486. In our examination, this is sufficient. Okay, but for these three types of microprocessors, features 16-bit or 32-bit or 8-bit. So register organization. Then second one, want to show the memory size. That may be of 2 power 16 or 2 power 32 or etc. Memory size of that. Then input output device size. Memory size. Input output devices memory size. Okay. Then fourth feature is clock speed. Then fifth feature is number of pins. So these are very much sufficient to write in your examinations for 80286, 80386 and 80486. These features are sufficient. You want to learn the features is that may be of 8-bit or 16-bit or 32-bit microprocessor. Then again the register organization. Then what is the memory size that may be of 64 KB or 1 MB or 4 gigahertz or 64 terabyte or etc. for each microprocessor. Then what is the memory size of input output devices? Then you have to know the clock speed of that microprocessor. Then the number of pins of that microprocessor. That is very much essential. Okay. That's it for today's class. Next class, we will go for the second unit. Okay. So instruction set and address. Thank you. Thank you very much.